WADR, promoting dialogue.
It's midday in Dakar. Good afternoon and many thanks for tuning in to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and all around the world on WADR.org. This is Newslink. First, the headlines. ECOWAS delegation set to arrive in Guinea for evaluation of transition progress and assessment of implementation timetable. Sierra Leone makes historic achievement as it gets elected for UN Security Council non-permanent member after 52 years. Liberia Supreme Court holds 3 government officials in contempt for refusing court appearance.
We have a president performing his statutory function. He's more of a senior level government official appointed by the president of Liberia to perform a certain role. He performs that role. The Supreme Court disagrees. It disagrees with the language, but the language not from the Minister of Information. The language was signed by the Minister of Information and from the Minister of Justice.
And Ghana and Togo make progress in talks to reconcile the long-standing border dispute between them.
Ghana has a challenge with Togo so far as our maritime boundary is concerned. Therefore, the president of Ghana and Togo decided that Ghana and Togo should establish a joint technical committee to negotiate on how to resolve the maritime dispute.
Please stay with us for details of these stories and more.
Here is James Adjapong with Newslink.
Many thanks for joining us. Now to our very first story. A delegation from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, is set to arrive in Guinea to conduct a further evaluation of the progress made in implementing the transition timetable. Following a meeting in Abuja, Nigeria, between the ECOWAS Commission and various Guinean socio-political actors, a new mission has been dispatched to Conakry by the West African Community Organization. The primary objective of the mission to Guinea is to emphasize the importance of organizing an inclusive dialogue aimed at achieving a successful and peaceful transition. Conakry correspondent Chano Afa Ibrahim Abade filed this report, narrated by Imo Edit.
A delegation of 8 Guinean socio-political actors who are members of the follow-up committee for the Inter-Guinean Political Dialogue Agreement has been received in Abuja by officials from the ECOWAS Commission. During the meeting, the Guinean delegation briefed Dr. Umar Aliyu Toure on the current political situation in the country and requested ECOWAS involvement in resolving the political crisis. Dr. Ibrahim Asser Jallo led the delegation.
We came to discuss certain crises that are undermining the transition. It should be remembered that the inclusive dialogue framework was boycotted by certain political players.
In response, the West African Organization announced its plan to dispatch an evaluation mission to Guinea within 1 week. Dr. Ibrahim Jallo reiterated the statement.
An ECOWAS delegation will be coming to Conakry to discuss the evaluation and continuity of the Inter-Guinean inclusive dialogue, and we have managed to unblock the situation because ECOWAS is renewing its relations with Guinea.
However, some observers in Guinea speculate that the delegation was sent to Nigeria by the National Committee for Rally and Development, CNRD. The head of the delegation, however, refutes this claim, asserting that the initiative was their own. With the objective of achieving a peaceful transition in Guinea within the 24-month time frame, the West African Organization emphasizes the importance of organizing an inclusive dialogue.
That was a report filed by a Conakry correspondent, Chano Afa Ibrahim Abade, narrated by Imo Edit. The electoral campaign for the constitutional referendum in Mali is currently underway with active participation from both sides, representing yes and no. Amid this campaign, Bamako is intensifying its mediation efforts to obtain approval for its proposed new constitution. However, in the region of Kidal, which is situated in the northern part of the country and under the control of former rebels, there is opposition from civil society organizations and various groups regarding the conduction of the referendum in that region. More details with Bamako from WADR correspondent, voiced by Marty C.
Several civil society organizations and groups in Kidal have expressed dissatisfaction with the new constitution draft, as they believe that several provisions from the peace agreement with Bamako have been disregarded. This sentiment is shared by various leaders of the platform of former rebel movements, although the central government has consistently denied these claims. With the scheduled vote on the draft constitution set for the 18th of June, civil society in Kidal is urging for a boycott of the ballot. They are calling upon the administrative authorities and the independent election management body, AIGE, to postpone the constitutional referendum, specifically in Kidal. This campaign for a boycott has the potential to disrupt the constitutional referendum in the region and may impact voter turnout. Meanwhile, civil society organizations in Gao, also located in the northern part of the country, are issuing similar threats to boycott the referendum. They demand that the government addresses the issue of frequent and untimely water and electricity cuts in the region. The discontent expressed by civil society organizations in both Kidal and Gao highlights the challenges and concerns that exist regarding the new constitution and its perceived lack of adherence to the peace agreement, as well as issues of basic services in these regions of Mali.
That was a report filed by Bamako correspondent from WADR, voiced by Marty C.
Fresh and breaking news all the time. Hear it first as the news breaks, only on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
If you are just joining us, this is Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM, and we are streaming all around the world on WADR.org. Sierra Leone has been elected as non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council for the 2024-2025 period, marking a significant milestone for the country. This is the first time in 52 years and only the second time in the country's history to have secured a seat on the Security Council. Taking to his Twitter page on Tuesday, President Julius Maada Bio said their candidacy was based on the theme of partnership, multilateralism, and representative approach to sustain global peace and security. Sierra Leone, according to him, received overwhelming support from the United Nations General Assembly, running as an endorsed candidate of the African Union. Their selection to the UN Security Council he termed a remarkable achievement and a testament to the effort of his government in transforming Sierra Leone's international reputation and standing over the past 5 years. Being a member of the UN Security Council, Bio said, reflects their success as a democratic and peaceful country characterized by resilience and boundless optimism. He concluded by calling on Sierra Leoneans to hold their heads high, celebrate and take pride in this historic achievement, which places the country at the heart of the international system. The Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara has officially appointed 3 law practitioners to join the Constitutional Council. In a decree issued by the head of state, Aimé Zebiou, the former Minister of Justice, Richard Christophe Adu, and Sébastien Yedulat, a teacher researcher in public law and an esteemed member of the faculties of law, will serve as advisors to the Constitutional Council. These 3 individuals will join the College of Electoral Judges for a duration of 6 years, starting from July 27, 2023. For more in this report, we turn to Abdullahi Hassan.
According to a judicial source, the current public prosecutor, Senior Magistrate Richard Christophe Ado, has been appointed as an advisor to the Constitutional Council. The same source also confirmed there is a possibility that he may be replaced by the time he assumes office on July 27, 2023. These appointments are part of the process of renewing the members of the Constitutional Council. This institution, consisting of 7 members, plays a crucial role in regulating the functioning of public authorities and declaring the final result of presidential elections. President Alassane Ouattara issued a decree on May 9, 2023, appointing Senior Magistrate Chantal Nanaba Kamara as the head of the Constitutional Council. Magistrate Chantal is the first woman to hold this position in the country. Chantal Nanaba Kamara will assume her role on July 21, 2023, succeeding Mamadou Kone, who has been in office since March 12, 2015, following the resignation of Francis Wodier. Wodier initially served as an interim chairman for 2 years before being confirmed for a 6-year term. The 3 new advisors will replace Jacqueline Obley, Ali Toure, and Vincent Koa, whose terms have come to an end.
Abdullahi Hassan filed that report. Let's turn our attention to Benin as Olusegun Ajadi Bakari, a former minister councillor for investment to the Beninese president, now occupies the office of the head of Beninese diplomacy. Before joining President Patrice Talon's team, the new foreign minister was an economic advisor to the Togolese president Faure Gnassingbé. He also has a long experience in the banking sector in France. Bakari's appointment formalizes the dismissal of Aurélien Agbenossi, former Minister of Foreign Affairs. Recall, since May 23, 2023, the Beninese media announced his departure from the government, but no official statement from the authorities followed the news. Aurélien Agbenossi's dismissal came 7 years after joining the ruling government in the same capacity in 2016 when President Talon assumed office. The Beninese government to date has not communicated the reasons for removal during a mild cabinet reshuffle on April 17, 2023. Meanwhile, Benin's President Patrice Talon has officially installed 7 individuals, including 5 men and 2 women, as members of the National Constitutional Court. The newly appointed members assumed their roles immediately after the inauguration. Professor Dorothée Sosa, a renowned jurist, was also elected to lead the court during its 7th term. Oge Obiarika provides more details in this report by Rudolph Carr in Cotonou.
The ceremony was concise, lasting only 15 minutes without any speeches. President Patrice Talon simply administered the oaths to the newly appointed council members and swiftly sent them back to their responsibilities for the next 5 years. Their primary objective is to uphold the Constitution, resolve disputes concerning the fundamental law, and oversee the legislative and presidential elections. This 7th term of the Council includes 2 women among its 7 members, with Professor Dorothy Sosa, a distinguished expert in private law and former Dean of the Faculty of Law and Political Science at the University of Abomey-Calavi, serving as its chairperson. The key responsibility of these new council members will be to oversee the upcoming 2026 general elections, which will determine the next president, the composition of the National Assembly, and the appointment of new local councillors. This new term for the court occurs amidst criticism from the main opposition party, Le Democrat, led by Boniai. The party has raised concerns about the procedure followed in appointing the new council members and has even taken the matter to the same court, requesting a repetition of the procedure. The opposition is insisting on representation in the new mandate, considering that they hold 28 out of the 109 seats in parliament.
That report was filed by Rudolph Carl in Cotonou and voiced in our studios by Oge Obiarika. You are listening to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM, Dakar, Senegal. Here is a reminder of our top stories. ECOWAS delegation set to arrive in Guinea for evaluation of transition progress and assessment of implementation timetable. Sierra Leone makes historic achievement as it gets elected for UN Security Council non-permanent member after 52 years. Liberia Supreme Court holds 3 government officials in contempt for refusing court appearance. And Ghana and Togo make progress in talks to reconcile the long-standing border dispute between them. Still ahead, we have our newspaper review, guest interview, and some sports update. Kindly stay with us.
West Africa Democracy Radio. It's you speaking.
It's 30 minutes past 12 in our studios here, and this is West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM. Don't forget you can follow our discussions on Twitter and Instagram at WADR News, and on Facebook, West Africa Democracy Radio English Service. The Boundary Commission of Ghana has reported significant progress made in the ongoing talks aimed at resolving a long-standing dispute between Ghana and neighboring Togo. The Commission is optimistic that a clear and definitive resolution to this impasse will bring positive benefit to both countries. Between December 2017 and May 2018, Togo prevented 2 of Ghana's seismic vessels from conducting data acquisition activities in the disputed deep sea territory. In response, the leaders of both countries, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo of Ghana and Togolese President Faure Gnassingbé, mutually agreed to pursue peaceful and collaborative efforts to address the issue and strengthen bilateral relations. WADR's Accra correspondent Tatiana Bella Lawson now reports.
Ghana's exploration and production activities in the upstream oil and gas sector near its eastern border with Togo has faced strong opposition from the Togolese government in recent times. The opposition resulted in a halt of activities between December 2017 and May 2018, when Togo prevented Ghanaian vessels from conducting seismic operations and gathering data in the disputed area. Togo claimed ownership of the contested maritime boundary, impeding Ghana's efforts to conduct feasibility studies and explore the oil-rich Keta Basin. As a consequence, the Ghanaian government's plans to exploit oil resources in the Keta Basin were disrupted. To address this issue and prevent any major land dispute between the two countries, President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana and President Faure Gnassingbé of Togo established a technical committee. This committee was tasked to find a lasting solution to the disagreement. With the Africa Border Day approaching on June 7, Major General Kotia, the national coordinator of Ghana's Boundary Commission, expressed optimism about the ongoing negotiations, stating that they have reached an advanced stage and are expected to yield positive outcomes soon.
Ghana has a challenge with Togo so far as our maritime boundary is concerned. Therefore, the president of Ghana and Togo decided that Ghana and Togo should establish a joint technical committee to negotiate on how to resolve the maritime dispute. These negotiations have been going on over the years. I must say that the negotiations have reached a very important level where probably we may be seeing the negotiations coming to fruition very soon.
Further, General Kotia believes that a fair resolution to the long-standing dispute will facilitate the efficient utilization of potential resources in the Keta Basin.
We are hoping that once this is resolved, the Keta Basin would be open up to investors for oil and what have you, and other activities, and even the fisher folk in that area.
It is worth noting that in September 2017, Ghana successfully resolved a similar maritime dispute with its western neighbor, Côte d'Ivoire, through a ruling by the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea, ITLOS. Reporting for Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, I am Atiewin Imbila Lawson in Accra.
This is the newspaper review. Stay on top of the news. Get the most important stories with added insight and concise review.
This is the newspaper review.
Well, for our press stories for today, Atiawin and Bilal Lawson is still on standby.
Greetings from Accra, Ghana. Welcome to the newspaper review for today, June 7, 2023. Let's start the review by looking at the Daily Graphic newspaper. The screaming headline, Anti-Corruption Plan Cure for IMF Bailout. That's according to the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice. Then we have some banner headlines. Mental health eats up 7% of GDP. Justice Doche bows out, vows to continue fight for justice. And then we have a banner headline here that says Green Ghana Day, 2 days more. Let's now go to the Ghanaian Times newspaper. The screaming headline, NHIS to cover mental health, according to President Akufo-Addo. Then some banner headlines, outbreak of anthrax, Ministry of Foreign Affairs bans movement of animals within Binduri. Then another banner headline, SIM card deactivation, more continue massing up to re-register. And then the final banner headline, Ghana Morocco seal a deal for $1.3 billion fertilizer project in Takrade. Let's bring you the headline in the Daily Guide newspaper. Economy back on track, according to Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Mahmoud Bawumia. Then we have some banner headlines: NDC MP's U-turn on CJ nominee. And then the final banner headline: minority attacks World Bank boss over the comments he made about power purchase agreements signed under the former administration. And from these three newspapers, let's now go to the Junior Graphic newspaper. We haven't brought you any headlines from the Junior Graphic. This is good for the kids. And the screaming headlines: don't take shelter under trees in rainstorms. That's according to the National Disaster Management Organization. Then let's go to the Daily Analyst newspaper. The screaming headline: EC exposes Sami Gyamfi's lies, advises him to exercise maturity and decorum on EC matters. Ghana back on track with investment opportunities, according to the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Then Tasco grabs Miracle Duke's Best Teacher Award. The winner gets a $14,500 vehicle. Then some other banner headlines: anthrax outbreak, movement of goats, cattle banned in parts of the Upper East region. Jache Kwesen ruling Supreme Court aired, according to Kwesi Pratt. And finally, Kenyan MP partners Kufuor Foundation to push for menstrual equity. So those are the headlines in the Daily Analyst newspaper. We're going to end by looking at the New Publisher newspaper. The screaming headline: Ghana is best for business. Bawumia invites foreign investors to Ghana. And the final headline here: Peace Council writes to Nogopo over Ajin Asari. So those are the headlines in the dailies in Ghana today. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Atiawe Nebela Lawson, for that newspaper review.
Politics,
Analysis on major news,
social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
The guest segment this afternoon provides more details on an earlier report about the ECOWAS delegation that is set to arrive in Guinea to evaluate the transition process thus far since the commencement of a national dialogue to return the country to constitutional rule. With the delegation expected to touch ground in Conakry in the coming days, many observers and experts project a consensual agreement to cement the transitional timetable structure and ensure the inclusivity of opposition political groups. CDK Ouattara, spokesperson for the Liberal bloc in this chat, highlights the importance of the ECOWAS delegation and its pivotal role in restoring democracy and political stability in Conakry. Ouattara also believes that the regional bloc should work on building trust among opposing forces, stakeholders, regional bodies, and international electoral observers, among other important actors. Asked if he thinks the delegation is free of any influence, Ouattara says,
yes, of course, because first we have to know why did they decide to undertake this traveling. It's just because the outcome of the dialogue that was organized by the ECOWAS and the Guinean government, which where the political parties participated, went out with a commission of follow-up. That commission had to follow up all the conclusions and results that they all agreed on. But unfortunately, the representative of the ECOWAS have never been present in that commission. So this delegation decided to go and ask ECOWAS why they did not see their delegation. And from what we have heard as information, very soon a delegation from ECOWAS will be in Guinea to conclude about this commission.
So according to reports, some opposition players are continuously undermining the process. Would there be a trust to cooperate with the transitional government now that the delegation is about to set off?
It is unfortunate because if they don't accept to come on table and discuss, we are going to continue in these difficulties and the transition will still last for long. So it's better for those who refuse or undermine this dialogue to come around the table and discuss and dialogue. And from that, from the dialogue, we can settle everything. But if we continue saying that, no, this dialogue is not the dialogue we need, and we are not going to discuss, we are not going to dialogue, it means that time is going and nothing is done for us to come out of this transition. And that is not good because the transition will still last.
So finally, others also opine that this delegation was not sent by ECOWAS, but rather the National Committee for Rally and Development, CNRD. In your view, does it really matter in this instance to avert the political situation Conakry finds itself?
Unless they have evidence for it, but we don't think CNRD is the one who sent them. This is a group of political parties which has a group. They were part of the dialogue, and most of them are part of the commission of follow-up of those dialogue. So deciding to go and see the member of the ECOWAS, the commission, okay, this is very normal than staying here and going in the demonstration. Because you need to go and ask for you to have the explanation. But if we stay here, ECOWAS is not acting, they will wait. When problem will be there again, they will start talking about sanction. But it's better now, everybody come around the table, we discuss.
Sidike Ouattara is spokesperson for the Liberal Bloc in Conakry. And here's our colleague Janko with some sports updates.
Hello there, a warm welcome and thank you for joining us. Trinity Valley Community College basketball team have signed 21-year-old Senegalese sixth center Mohamedou Cissé for upcoming season, according to media reports. The Dakar native Cissé joined Trinity College from St. Louis University, where he played for a year. The Senegalese star also had a stint at AS Monaco basketball on the 20 team in 2019-2022. In football, Lion Stars of Sierra Leone's head coach John Kista has unveiled a 38-man professional squad ahead of their Group A 2023 AFCON qualifiers against Nigeria's Super Eagles, it has been reported. The provisional list comprises 12 foreign-based players and 26 home-based players. Captain Stephen Coker's inclusion was a major surprise, having failed to make minutes due to numerous injuries. The Lion Stars will host the Super Eagles in Monrovia, Liberia on Sunday, 8 June in match day 5 of the 2023 AFCON qualifiers. Sierra Leone is among a host of countries who currently play their home matches away from home, having failed to meet CAF standards to host international matches. Meanwhile, the Lion Stars will hope to bounce back from their 2-1 defeat against the Super Eagles in the first leg of the qualifiers in Abuja. And that's it for sports. It's back to you.
Thank you, Sankule, for that sports update. We have come to the end of this edition of Newslink from West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to our listeners in the Gambia via Hot 104.3 FM and in Liberia via Alternative Future Radio 98.9 FM Lofa County, and in Ghana Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi. Nyas Bilimu has been exceptional on the console. Many thanks to Mustafa Sek for our online coverage on YouTube. Do interact with us via social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram at WADR News, and on Facebook, West Africa Democracy Radio English Service. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, it's a rebroadcast of our agenda program 50-50 with Atiarin and Bella Lawson. I'm James Adjapong. Good afternoon.
News, talk, music, get it all 24 hours on West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9.